ingredients. Take 7 cups of leadership, 3 cups of success, sprinkle with respect, add a dash of fairness, and there you have it, the ingredients to President Andrew Jackson. Our president grew up in a poor family, yet he always put his family's needs before his own. He started off poor and became one of the most powerful men of all time. Andrew Jackson was the first to use something called rotation in office. This gave more people the opportunity to serve their country. What could possibly be better than that? Well, I'll tell you, Jackson will make sure you and other settlers have a place to build a home and make a living, just as he did in the Indian policy. When the federal bank was not looking out for its people, Jackson intervened to make sure none of us were being mistreated. He therefore gave some of the money in the federal bank to the states, because he felt the states knew the people better. This man clearly looks out for his people. Jackson supports the people that support him. Our president is a bold man. He does not feel threatened by people. So if you don't want a weak president, vote for President Andrew Jackson. He's the right man for the job.
If you look up Andrew Jackson in a dictionary, you will find words like irresponsible, selfish, and greedy. Are those the kind of words you would want to hear if you elected Andrew Jackson for president? I didn't think so. Jackson wanted to make more room for white settlers, so he wanted to force Native Americans to move farther west. He took most of the Indians' rights away. President Jackson made more than 45,000 Native Americans relocate, and during this process he killed over 4,000 Native Americans. After President Jackson relocated the Native Americans, he bought about 100 million acres of Indian land for $68 million. He also bought 32 million acres of Western land without permission. Who does he think he is? Why does he think he could just take people's land and rights away and get away with it? Andrew Jackson has made horrible decisions which tarnished American history. After becoming president in 1829, Andrew Jackson only hired his friends for government jobs instead of professional people. He said government jobs were too plain and simple. Andrew Jackson was a very bad influence and president. Voting for Andrew Jackson is pretty much saying all of his bad behavior is okay. So if you vote for Andrew Jackson, you'll have a bad reaction.
Heroic, a true American, and someone who fights for equality. He is Andrew Jackson, and there's no one better for the role of president. Jackson deserves to be president a second time because he strives to stop elitism and to protect and support the common people. Up until the last 4 years, the United States has had many presidents, most of them being born extremely wealthy and never having worked a day before in their life. Why should one of these men get to be president, but someone who has worked as a common American and understands the hardships of regular life not be able to? He is what the country deserves and needs. He should be re-elected. In President Jackson's last term as president, he stopped many of the injustices being dealt by the wealthy to the middle and lower classes of society. His main accomplishment on his crusade for the common people was taking down the National Bank, which was commonly known to be much more favorable to the wealthy citizens than to the middle and lower classes. His other main accomplishment as president was completely paying off all of the national debt that the government owed, putting the United States in a much better financial situation. Many critics of President Jackson cite the fact that he has killed men in duels before. This fact looks very bad to many because it is unheard of for a president to have had duels before his political life began. But the fact that he has not only threatened to settle an issue with a duel, but actually followed through, only goes to show that as a president, he will follow through with what he says and not just lie to become more popular with the people. Jackson went above and beyond what was expected of him in the first year as president, and he has expanded America's territory, even with Indians trying to block America's path to success. With all the hardships happening on America's frontiers, President Jackson has kept, if not bettered, America's prosperity and success. Jackson is the best for the job, and he should get re-elected.
Do you know why Andrew Jackson was a good president? First of all, he was the first common citizen president. President Jackson also cared for the poor by fixing the Second National Bank. He reduced the federal debt and defeated the British in New Orleans. President Jackson also vetoed more bills than any other president because he believed in rewarding loyalty and pleasing a lot of people. Well, yeah, he kicked the Indians off their land, but maybe they went to a better place. Duh. Do you know why he gave land to the Cherokees? I think. Okay. President Andrew also made improvements in trading with European and South American countries. He also intended voting rights for all males and not just white people. See, I told you he was a good person.
Unjust, uptight, and greedy. These are the words that come to mind when I think of our previous presidents, but not Andrew Jackson. He is one of those presidents that thinks of us, the common man, and knows our hardships of our day-to-day life. Unlike other presidents who feel that they are better than us, but no more. Because today you can choose a president who's ready to help you, or a president who will help only himself and his rich friends. There are multiple ways Jackson has already helped us so far. First, he has opened up new lands to us that have been previously housed to the savages called the Indians. But he has also found a place for them to stay in our towns so that they can become like us and they can no longer become savages. Second, he has destroyed the money monster bank that favored the rich over the poor, and by giving the money to his trusted friends, he will be able to give out equal loans and make it equal to poor and rich alike. So after hearing all of this, I hope that you will find the right way and that you will vote for Andrew Jackson, and only us then can we change America.
Selfish, non-loyal, idiotic, and violent are only few of the characteristics that describe the anti-American-like commoner, Andrew Jackson. He has disobeyed our government's rules, forced our brothers in arms the Cherokee Indians out of their rightfully owned lands, and soiled the pureness and purity of the White House and government with his dirt-covered, smelly commoner friends. Jackson has somehow found a way to slowly decrease our nation's greatness into a farm of some sorts. How many bad choices is it going to take for people to understand how bad Andrew Jackson is at making good decisions? Strike one, forcing the Cherokee to move out of their land over past Georgia. And when this went to case against the Cherokee tribe in Georgia, the Supreme Court did rule that they should not be forced to move. But of course, what did Jackson do? He told Georgia to just ignore the court's ruling and make them move west of their land anyways. Jackson didn't realize that this was a direct violation of the government system, checks and balances, but of course he didn't. Strike two, letting commoners into the White House. Jackson had made the mistake of taking in his friends for jobs in the White House and government. Another huge mistake he has made was attempting to go to war with the federal bank. And how did he do this? Well, he split up the federal bank's money into all the states. And then, who ran these smaller banks? Well, Jackson's friends, of course, of whom had no experience or knowledge of the jobs. And soon the economy would crash from an overdue number of loans sent out from his friends running the state banks, causing the Panic of 1837. Andrew Jackson has obviously messed up the United States with some bad choices, but we can still save our great country by not electing Jackson as the president again.
The election of 1832 is a time of choices. The choice of success or the choice of uncertainty. A vote for Andrew Jackson is a vote for prosperity. As he once said, "I have big shoes to fill. This is my chance to do something. I have to seize the moment." And he did. President Andrew Jackson did many things that helped to improve our country, from gaining land for the United States to getting common people more involved in our government. He is the perfect president to help improve our country and make it better. In 1830, he gained land for the United States. Now our people have more land to use to farm, more land to give out, and more land to grow crops on. Most of the land gained was from the east of the Mississippi River. Since he was once a farmer too, he knows what it is like to be a common citizen of the United States. He helped to make sure our government didn't take too much power away from us. He set up a rotation of office, gave regular, common people the opportunity to have a job in the government. The job rotated every few months to give other people a chance to work in it. This is what we need, a president who makes sure the government is fair and trustworthy. He's a president who can be trusted if we re-elect him. From a small farm in North Carolina to your leader of the United States, it's your choice. You choose what happens next. Avoid 4 years of dissatisfaction and vote for Andrew Jackson.